Hello and welcome to the Lifestyle Medicine Blueprint podcast, where we explore the intersection of health, wellness and sustainable living, helping you to live longer in better health. I'm your host, Dr. Trevor Killeen, GP, lifestyle medicine physician and holistic therapist, and I'm so glad you're here today for this episode. If you've ever felt overwhelmed by the endless and often contradictory advice on how to live healthier, deaf from the noise about nutrition, diets and exercise, or if you're tired of quick fixes that don't last, this episode, and indeed this podcast, is for you. Hello and welcome to episode 4 of the Lifestyle Medicine Blueprint podcast. I'm Dr. Trevor Killeen, and today we're looking at weight management and why it's so much more than just calories in and calories out. But before we jump in, this is not an exhaustive deep dive. That would take hours. In fact, I could talk for days on the subject. This is a bird's eye view. We'll return to things like GLP-1s, metabolic syndrome, and the gut microbiome in later episodes. For now, if you've ever tried to lose weight, count calories, tracked points, followed plans, been disciplined, and still struggled, maybe you've avoided the photographs, maybe you've dreaded stepping on the scales, maybe you've felt quietly judged. Maybe there's a background worry about your future health. This episode is not here to tell you to try harder, because for many people, the problem isn't effort, it's the model that we've been given. For decades, weight management has been reduced to calories in and calories out. Eat less, move more. And if it doesn't work, well, the implication is obvious. But here's the reality. Human beings are not calorie counters. We are adaptive biological systems shaped by hormones, stress, sleep, food quality, environment, and indeed our history. And weight regulation is very complex. Much more complex and far more compassionate than we've been led to believe. First, let's have a look at calories in versus calories out. Let's be fair to it, at a physics level, energy balance exists. If intake exceeds expenditure over time, our weight increases. If intake is lower, weight may fall. At a population level, that makes sense. But here's the problem. It assumes the body is passive. It assumes metabolism is fixed. It assumes hunger is simple. It assumes all calories behave the same way. But none of that is actually true. Calories in versus calories out can describe what happened, but it's a poor guide for sustainable change. The body is adaptive. When you reduce calories, the body doesn't just say, "Oh, that's great," and leave it there. It says energy is falling and we must protect survival. Resting energy expenditure drops, you may feel cold. The body becomes efficient, you may feel a bit foggy. You're burning fewer calories for the same activity. Sometimes weight may even rise as the body defends itself, as it holds on to every calorie it can. Hunger increases, food thoughts intensify, satiety is harder to reach. This is adaptive thermogenesis. It's well documented. This is not a weakness, it's physiology. Many people are also working against what appears to be a biologically defended weight range. So what does this mean? The body appears to regulate body weight within a certain zone through coordinated hormonal and metabolic responses. When weight drops below this range, through particularly calorie restriction, the body adapts by increasing hunger, reduces the satiety signaling and lowering energy expenditure, as we have mentioned. This helps explain why sustained body weight loss can feel biologically challenging and why regain is common. There is also some evidence to suggest that with gradual weight gain over time, especially in environments characterized by chronic stress, ultra-processed food exposure, poor sleep and low activity, this defended range may shift upwards. In other words, the body can begin to normalize a higher weight, adjusting appetite and metabolic symptoms or signals around that new level. While the concept of set point remains debated, what is clear is that the weight regulation is dynamic and adaptive, not simply a matter of willpower, and that both weight loss and gradual weight gain are influenced by complex biological feedback systems. So when weight returns, it's not failure, it's influenced heavily by biology. Now let's look at why repeated dieting can make it harder. There is another piece we don't talk about enough: weight cycling. Repeated dieting, repeated restriction, repeated regain. During aggressive calorie restriction, we don't just lose fat, we often lose lean mass or muscle. And muscle is metabolically active tissue. When muscle is lost, resting metabolism rate can fall. Over time, this can make future weight loss feel harder. Add to that hormonal adaptations, physiological fatigue, psychological fatigue, and diet burnout. And many people reach their 40s or 50s feeling like it used to work and now it doesn't. That is not imagination. There is accumulated physiology going on. This is why protecting muscle, avoiding extreme restriction, and building sustainable system matters so much. Let's talk about hormones that drive appetite. Insulin influences storage and use of energy. Leptin signals fullness. It drops with weight loss. Ghrelin increases hunger. Cortisol influences cravings and fat distribution. None of these are under our conscious control. You cannot out-discipline leptin. You cannot willpower your way past ghrelin. The body prioritizes survival, not aesthetics. Food quality matters. Not all calories behave the same way. Ultra-processed foods are hyperpalatable. They disrupt satiety. They are easy to overconsume. In contrast, protein, fiber, minimally processed foods increase fullness, improve appetite regulation, reduce passive overeating. So the better question isn't how many calories, but rather, what is this food signaling to my body? Next we look at the gut microbiome. This is one of the areas of study that is really developing at a rapid pace at the moment. The gut microbiome is our gut bacteria, and they influence energy extraction, inflammation, insulin sensitivity, appetite. So weight management is not a single lever, it's a system. And many things can impact it, including things like stress and sleep. Sleep deprivation increases hunger and reduces insulin sensitivity. Chronic stress alters appetite and fat distribution. A modern life is a weight-promoting environment. That's not a moral failure. It's physiology responding to the context that it finds itself in. The next thing is movement. We've talked about that many times, and we'll talk about it more. Exercise is not about earning food. It improves insulin sensitivity, preserves lean mass, supports mood, and regulates appetite. Technology is also not the enemy. Wearables, sleep counters, body composition scans, used wisely, they provide insight. The key is this: insight, not moral accounting. So when you do exercise, don't think, oh, that's great, that's bought me another 200 calories to consume. Think about all of the other benefits that you have beside it. One of the biggest developments in the treatment of obesity has been the advent of the GLP-1s. Now, as I said at the beginning, I'm not going to go into detail on these in this particular episode, and we will look at them again. GLP-1 receptor agonists can be helpful for some people. They influence appetite physiology, but they are not a replacement for lifestyle foundations. We'll explore them properly again in a future episode. Now I want you to think about shifting your thinking about weight and considering it as an outcome, so an end point. Weight is a lagging indicator. It does not distinguish fat from muscle. It does not tell us where the fat is distributed. Visceral fat is stored in and around the organs. It's more metabolically active and more strongly associated with cardiometabolic risk. Subcutaneous fat behaves completely differently, and the scale cannot tell us this. For this, waist circumference matters, your blood pressure matters, HbA1c and lipid profiles matter. Sometimes these improve before the scales shift. Muscle mass also matters. Muscle improves insulin sensitivity. Muscle acts as a metabolic reservoir for glucose. Resistance training can help preserve muscle, which supports metabolic health, independent of dramatic weight loss. So perhaps the better question is, what direction is my health moving in? Should we shift from losing weight to being healthy, to improving lifespan? It's my belief that we should be looking at a more compassionate model. If weight loss has been hard, that is not a failure. It's information. The better question is, what is my body responding to? And what kind of future health am I building? The starting point isn't another diet, it's understanding. Begin with one upstream driver. So sleep, fiber, stress, muscle. Again, small changes, sustainable changes, compounding changes. Before you go, let's take a moment to pause and reflect. Nothing here is about perfection, it's about awareness. If this resonated, share it with somebody who might need to hear it, and make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss future episodes. As always, this is about building health that supports your life. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you in the next episode of the Lifestyle Medicine Blueprint podcast.